Hi, I'm Greg Howlett. I want to take a few minutes and talk to you about lead sheets today. I've been posting free lead sheets at greghowlett.com. Check those out if you haven't been out there already. But some of you are a little lost with them, and I understand that. I've been in your shoes before as well. Many of us have never had to play lead sheets before. But this will give you, this is a little intro to lead sheets, this little lesson that I'm posting here. It'll give you a start. We're going to walk through one of the lead sheets I posted last week called This Is My Father's World, chord by chord, and I'm going to show you sort of how to go about it. A lead sheet is nothing more, hopefully you can see that, a lead sheet is nothing more than a piece of music, a way of notating music where you have the melody and the harmony, and sometimes the lyric. Now we care about that melody and the harmony because we're pianists, but the lyric sometimes is included as well. Of course, if you have a melody line, you also have the rhythm. The rhythm is built into the melody line. So we have everything we need to know, rhythm, harmony, melody to play the song. The only thing we don't have is the style, or how do you actually go about it. And that's the beauty of a lead sheet. A lead sheet gives you, the performer, the opportunity to do it your way. That's a beautiful thing. And lead sheets have been around for the past 100 years or so, I guess more than 100 years. And they've been used for this purpose because of the democratic nature of modern music, where the performer has control over how the song is going to sound. Only thing we have to do is stay within the little framework, and everything works great. So we're going to walk through one. Now let me give you a couple things before we get started. Number one, some of you are thinking, well, does this apply to every kind of music or just hymns, just church music? It applies to any style of music you can imagine. You can use this with anything. Now, again, you have to adapt it to styles. But what I'm teaching you today will work just as easily with jazz tunes as it'll work with these tunes, or just as easily with pop tunes. You can use it with anything. I'm just happen to be I'm applying it here to a hymn. Some of you are thinking, well, hymn lead sheets are pretty weak, aren't they? Am I really going to be able to use what you're teaching here with my music, which might be, let's say, jazz standards? And the answer is, normally you'd be right. In this case, no. In this case, you are going to be able to apply this because I've gone the extra mile to create a lead sheet that looks a lot, at least as complicated as a jazz standard lead sheet. Really, no difference. If anything, this one is more complicated than a jazz lead sheet. So this is not 101 for lead sheets. This is a fairly significant, fairly advanced lead sheet that we're going to be walking through. A couple other quick things. Number one, let your ear be your guide. Your ear is your best guide for how you play. We're going to be talking a lot about voicing. Voicing is critical to making this work well. And I've talked a lot about voicing in the past. Voicing involves how you actually position the notes on the keyboard. Okay, for example, the first chord in this song is an E flat chord. E flat major triad, which is E flat, G, and B. Okay, the melody note is G. Now we can play that a lot of different ways. We could play this, for example. Okay, this is a very common thing that you see where we have just an octave in the left hand, E flat. In the right hand, we're playing a 3-note chord. Okay, now there's nothing wrong with this, but the sound is not as good as it could be. In general, here's a good rule of thumb. What you want is you want an even distribution of notes between the top and the low end of your range. Okay? In this case, instead of doing this, where we have all these notes clustered up in the right hand, I would prefer you do something like that. Okay? Something very simple, just 3 notes, but notice how they're evenly distributed. You get a better sound that way. Okay? This is a voicing 101. Voicing 101 is you divide the notes out evenly across the keyboard rather than clustering them all together like we tend to do. It's better to have what we call open voicing. Now what that implies is in the left hand, I want you to work harder than just playing a single note or an octave. I don't want you doing that or that. I'd rather you do this. Okay? Play 2 notes in the chord, not just an octave or a single note. Put that left hand to work, and you'll like the results. And then a couple other quick things. Number one, the lead sheet. I keep saying number one. A couple more things. Number one. You'll say, when are you going to get to number 2? A lead sheet chords are always not set in stone. They're never set in stone. You can change them a little bit, and you can definitely make them a little more interesting. For example, I happen to know, because of functional harmony, that I can add a major seventh to this E flat. So I would play this. Okay, that's the E flat chord, but I threw a major seventh in it. E flat, G, B flat, and D. Okay, just a better sound than this. More sophisticated sound that I really like. So be willing to do that. You can change up the chords as much as you want. These are just suggestions. All right. And then one other thing before we get started. If you ever hear the term fake book, a fake book is nothing more than a set of lead sheets, a collection of lead sheets. So everything we're talking about in regards to lead sheets applies to fake books too. They're really the same thing. If anybody ever tells you, I can play lead sheets but I can't play fake books, that person doesn't know what they're talking about. Lead sheets and fake books, same skills, same exact thing. So keep that in mind as well. Don't be scared if somebody says fake books. If you can play lead sheets, you can play fake books. Now let's get started. Make sure that you've copied or printed out this lead sheet. That'll really help you follow along. We're going to go through it chord by chord, and we're really going to go using a very simple technique. I might call it block chords, where we're going to play something like that. Now, an E flat chord, when you get to this point in the song, we all know that you could play an E flat chord broken. You could play chords like that, sort of broken up. You could play. And we're following, we can play that, we can derive that from the lead sheet just as easily. But today I just want to get you the first bass, where we're just doing some simple effectives, some block chords. That will work just fine for today. Alright, ready to get started. Let's walk through it. We're going to start at the very beginning. We've already talked about the first chord. We can play that. Remember, the notes that belong to this chord are E flat, G, and B flat. If you want to throw extra notes in, you can. Throw in the D. Okay. We're moving to a chord that's a little more complex. E diminished 7. Now, E diminished 7 has 4 notes in it. A diminished 7th chord has 4 notes. They're all a minor third apart. So we start on E, and we move to G, B flat, and D flat. Okay, 4 notes, a minor third apart. So we need to play those 4 notes, or at least most of them. Some of them are optional. And we want to play them each one time right now. We're going to avoid doubling, unless you're doubling the melody note. Okay, so we want to get all the notes in here. Let's see, we're going right here. Something like that. E, G, B flat, and D flat. Okay, that's one way you could do it. You could do something like that. I got the notes again, E flat, G. It's okay to double the B flat because it's a melody note, and you have a D flat here. Okay, either way, whatever your ear tells you, the voicing rules I'm showing you are just one way to do it. Some ways will sound good, some ways will sound bad. Pick what sounds good to you. What did I just do wrong? Played something like that, and we're going to F minor 7. Now I would play something like that. We have F minor 7 has F, A flat, C, and E flat in it. Okay, see that? And then B flat 7, flat 9. Okay? Now, a flat 9 is a B natural in a B flat 7 chord. We know that because 9 and 2 are the same thing. The 2 in a B flat chord would be C. Flat 2 would be C flat, which is B natural. So a flat 9 is B natural. The other notes in a B flat 7 chord are B flat, D, F, A flat. Okay? By the way, in a dominant chord, most of the time I'm going to leave out the 5. It's just a better sound. I have to use it here because it's the melody note. Okay, the B flat. Okay, there's a way you can play that. Moving right back to the E chord again, E flat chord. Okay, so here we are again. We started, well, we could do it a couple ways. Nice and simple, but sounds great. Okay, moving on. F minor 7, F, A flat, C, E flat. Nice simple voicing. Let's try it another way. Something like that. I like that better because of where we're going. We're going to F sharp diminished 7. which has an F sharp, an A C, and an E flat in it. Okay, 4 notes, a half step apart. We could do it a couple ways. I'll do it this way. Well, let's see, where's the best way? You can do it many ways. We need to get maybe something like that would be, if you have small hands, that works. Again, you have an F sharp, A, C, and an E flat. Again, we're doubling the C, but it's okay, it's the melody note. Moving on to G minor 7. G minor 7, G, B flat, D, and F. A flat major 7. A flat major 7 is A flat, C, E flat, and G. Okay? Look how simple that voicing is. I'm playing open fist in both hands. B flat sus 4. This is a B flat dominant chord that's a sus, meaning it has a 4 in it instead of a 3. Okay, in B flat, the 4 would be E flat, so we play an E flat instead of D. B flat, E flat, F, A flat. Okay, and then we're moving on to B flat 7 over A flat. This is what we call a slash chord. Slash chords simply mean, in modern music, we're simply referring to inversions. In this case, we have a B flat chord, B flat 7, in third inversion. Okay, A flat means third inversion. This would be root. This would be first inversion, second inversion, third inversion. Okay, so you got a B flat chord with an A flat. The lowest note you play needs to be an A flat. Something like that works just fine. B flat, D, F, A flat. Okay, moving on to G minor 7, we can do that. G, B flat, D, and F. C7 flat 9. You got a C, an E, a G, and a D flat. That's your flat 9. F minor 7. Something like that would work. You could play this as well. You need an F, an A flat, a C, and an E flat in it. Okay? Back to that B flat 7 flat 9, which we have already played before. So same voicing works. B flat, D, F, A flat, and B. C flat, C minor 7. C, E flat, G, and B flat. Okay? F minor 7, F, A flat, C, and E flat. See how spread out those notes are? B flat sus. Okay? B flat, E flat, A flat, no F. Remember I said we like to leave out the 5 out of dominant chords, so I left out, you don't see an F in here, and you do see me add a 9. And then moving to B flat, flat 9. Okay, we've seen that, this is the third time we've used that chord with an F on top. So you should recognize that one. Back to E flat, okay? Now we're going to do something a little interesting here. We're going to actually throw in a few chords just for the fun of it. The reason we do that is just to add harmonic interest to the music. If you looked at this in any hymnal, you would just see an E flat for this bar. And you would play something like that, right? What I wrote here instead was something that sounds like that. Now, the reason I did that again, harmonic interest, you'll see this a lot in lead sheets. You'll see the chord changing even when the melody note doesn't change. So what we're going to do is we're going to hold down that E flat with our pinky, that's the melody note, and just change the chords underneath it. Just like that, until we get to the B flat. So it changes on each beat. G flat, diminished 7. Okay, now I don't have the C in that chord, but I have an F sharp or a G flat, A, and then an E flat. Okay, that's a flat 3 diminished chord, which I know leads down nicely to the 2 chord, which is F minor, F, A flat, C, and E flat. 2 likes to lead to 5. We're using that flat 9 in it again. Notice this time I added a 13, which is your G. Okay. Now everybody knows that when you have a 2 and a 5, it leads where? It leads to 1. Except in this case, we're going to fool you. Instead of going to 1, E flat, I'm going to go to a sharp 4 half diminished chord, which sounds like this. Okay, A flat 7, excuse me, A minor 7 flat 5 is the same thing as a half diminished chord. So play A minor 7, lower the 5. Okay? A, C, E flat, and G. Okay? Just a nice little like surprise chord. Everybody is expecting to hear a certain sound in their head. You throw this chord in instead. By the way, you could, if you have big enough hands, it sounds better to do this voicing. Okay? But it requires you to play a real tenth in the left and the right hand, which is very hard. But this works just as almost as well. Moving to A flat minor 6. This is an A flat minor chord. A flat, B, and E flat. Okay? And then we're going to add the 6 to it, which is F. Which, is that the melody? No, it's not. Okay, we're moving here instead. So here we go. Okay, A flat minor 6, A flat, B, E flat, and F. So here it is again. And then G sus 4. Okay, that's a G7 with the 4 instead of a 3 in it. So you have a C instead of a B. Okay? G, C, no D, that's optional, because that's your 5. 7, and then just for grins I threw in a 9. Okay? By the way, I'm doubling here, unintentionally. You can do this instead to get rid of doubling. I catch myself doubling all the time. Okay, but there's your chord. And then you're moving to C minor 7, which is an easy. C, E flat, G, and B flat. And you can play that any way you want. Back to a slash chord. That's C minor 7 over B flat. Third inversion chord. So it's just C chord. You need a B flat in the bottom. So pull, maybe do this. I don't like that. You could do A flat, major 7, A flat, C, E flat, and G. A flat diminished 7, A flat, B, D, and F. G minor 7, G flat, G, B flat, D, F. F minor 7, F, A minor, C. Oh, let me show you something here. I just did something wrong. G minor 7, we need to hold that melody note down. We're moving to F minor 7. I play that. I got an F, an A flat, a C, an E flat, and then I also, just for grins, have a 9 and an 11. Well, the 11 is the melody note. Okay, so it sounds like this again. And then we're moving to B flat 7, B flat, D, and A flat. That's 1, 3, and 7. 5 is optional. I have a 13 in here though. And then E flat. And then we're going to move on to this E diminished 7, which by the way we started the song with. And so I'm going to go through this quick. G7, G, B, no 5, no D, but I have a 13, and I have 7. C minor 7, C, E flat, G, B flat. F minor 7, F, A flat, C, and E flat. We've used that chord 4 or 5 times. It's B flat, flat, B flat 7, flat 9, B flat, D. G is your 13. Before we had the melody note on an F, so we had to play F, but remember I said I'd rather change that. Leave out the 5, so we're playing 13 instead. And back to the E chord. Oh, E flat chord. Here it is, the whole thing. up there. Okay, so you saw I was just adding a few little stylistic elements there, just little broken chords and little things, just to make it sound a little bit better. Block chords is a good place to start, but obviously long term you're going to want to do a little more with it, but not too much more. You can get a great sound just doing little simple things like I was doing there. I hope you thought those were simple things. I think they were really, really simple. Instead of playing like that, I play like that instead. Really easy. All right, so remember, rule of thumb is this: it's going to take you a long time to do your first lead sheet, especially one like this. It's pretty difficult. You need to learn this just like you learn any other piece of music. Learn what you're going to do on every single chord, what voicing you're going to use, and practice it. Practice maybe 4 bars a day for a while, and get to the point where you can play this well. But don't be surprised if it takes you 2 weeks or 2 months to learn the first lead sheet. It takes time to get to the point where you just look at these and you're as comfortable with them as you are playing out the hymnal, which a lot of you are trying to transition from. All it takes is practice, and you'll get there. So again, check out the free resources at greghowlett.com. We've got free lead sheets that we'll try to post almost every week. There's free arrangements out there as well. And then if you're just totally lost and you need a very, very structured approach to this, I encourage you to step back and look at my courses, which have a structured approach, homework, and all those kind of things to help you learn this kind of theory step by step to bring you along and turn you into a very, very versatile, functional pianist. Those are available at Greg Howlett as well. Hope to see you over there soon. Thanks.